team in the first half, building a big lead. New Orleans, a young team, but playing fairly well. But it was a good start by, the Danny Green, getting them started with the three-point shot. I was looking for him to start to get involved earlier. Seems like it opens up things for other players, 6 of 10 from 3. Also made a lot of free throws tonight, Geeter. 23 of 28. Kept them in the game. Both teams shot the ball fairly okay, but, just a collective effort and dominant play by AD once again, closing it out.
Yeah, we'll get into him in a moment. Listen, it's a big night. The young Laker core returns, but in a different uniform. It's a lot of fun for the fans, and the Lakers came out and took care of business.
For sure. Man, the pace of the game when you play the Pelicans is always going to be high. So you're going to see the momentum swing back and forth. Lakers make big runs. Pelicans make runs. But ultimately, the Lakers too dominant. Anthony Davis is now in L.A., and he's the best player on the floor tonight.
James, I got something for you. 35 games in. Lakers have 28 wins. Marinate on that.
Thank you, sir.
Let's go back to Staples Center. Danny Green is with Mike Trudell.
The last 7, 8 years.
It took a long time to get there.
All right, Danny, so big leads you guys have created the last couple of nights. Other teams always seem to give you their best effort. They're going to keep coming back. What's important about it, kind of retaining or just getting that momentum back to close these games out?
We got to do a better job of keeping locked in and staying focused. Human nature trying to fight it, of not getting lax. Human nature, they're going to continue to fight. So we got to do a better job of staying focused for the full 48, that third quarter, and the third quarter and early fourth, keeping that same intensity and respecting every team. They were a great ball club. They come in, they scored a high clip. So did Phoenix. And, we got to be on our toes at all times on defense and on the floor.
With that said, what has allowed you to open up such big leads? What's been working early?
I just like our energy and our focus from the start. We come in with a little bit of anger, a little bit of chip on our shoulder, protecting home court. We just got to sustain that and try to keep it 48 minutes. It's tough. We know we're about halfway through the season, but we want to get there by, April, May, and June.
You got going early in this one from 3, Danny. A lot of your points came in that first quarter. Getting your 6th free with about 2 minutes left. What kind of rhythm were you finding, and how were you getting your shots?
My teammates did a great job of finding me, man. Brian gets to the paint, spraying out, and just hit me in the corner. I got easy, wide open look, rhythm shots in the corner. And once you see 1 or 2 go in, it's easy to let the next ones go confidently. And they continued to find me. Second half, they didn't do as much. They didn't help off the corners as much. But we still got some good looks and got some good rhythm rotations. Everybody was in a good flow.
All right, last thing for you. You guys still haven't lost to a team that's sub 500 this season. Got a couple more coming in here. What's been the important thing about taking care of business?
Against every team. Doesn't matter if they're sub 500 or above. We want to win. Obviously, those games, but even the bigger challenges, we know we got to be locked in. But regardless of the record, we know each team can beat any team on any given night in this league. And, we got to respect everybody that comes on the floor.
Appreciate it, Danny.
Thank you.
All right, guys, Danny Green, 6 triples tonight, helping the Lakers to a 123-113 victory at Staples Center.
Thank you, Mike. And Danny Green was huge. We'll talk about him later in the show. We have to talk about Anthony Davis's dominance over his former team. Now, they've only played twice, but look at these numbers. He is 30 of 51 from the field. 23 of 25 from the free throw line. He was 13 for 13 tonight. He's averaging 11 rebounds and 3 steals. He had 46 fish. I don't know what else to say about this young man. He's amazing to watch on a nightly basis, but the efficiency that he gets these numbers is remarkable.
Fish, 21 shots. How to say this. Anthony Davis practiced against a lot of these guys in New Orleans, and it is clear there was nobody remotely close enough to being able to guard this guy in practice on a daily basis. So when he plays in the game against the Pelicans, it's like practice. He knows that he can get to his spots, get what he wants to get accomplished, but he also does it, to your point, the efficiency. He's not doing it in the way of, I'm trying to show out because I'm playing against New Orleans. He's doing it still within the team fabric, and that's what's impressive about the way he plays the game.
I agree. I mean, he's perfected his craft. I mean, the guy can do just about anything on the basketball court. And when you're playing against former teammates, you kind of, they know they can't guard you. Like Fish said, he knows they can't guard him. But, when he gets going from inside and outside, it's going to be a long night for whoever's trying to defend him when he's hitting the 3 and dunking and hitting the mid-range. It's going to be a long night.
And you know, I think for Anthony Davis, he says the right things. Listen, we already played him that first time, so it's just now playing the Pelicans. But you know, every time you face your former team, he wants to have a little something for them. And just the way he puts his stamp on the game. The 12 points in the first quarter, separate the Lakers, and kind of announces this is AD's night. And then that third quarter, Fish, you know, you're coming out of that break, and he goes for 19 in that quarter.
Yeah, I think that's really the mark of a mature professional player, right? The first half, in some ways similar to the Suns game, Lakers get out to a nice cushion. Pelicans kind of fighting back a little bit. But instead of doing the same thing in the second half against Phoenix that happened, AD comes out and says, no, in the third quarter, and Allie Clifton mentioned this in the conference room, to come out and say we have to be better finishing games. When we've been successful within the game, we have to be better. And he set the example of that coming out in the third quarter, putting up 19 points.
And then he comes out and does it.
Yes.
So he walks the walk.
Yes, indeed.
And I appreciate that. James, before we get to the highlight, I want to throw out a number to you. 19-0 for sub-500 teams. In this day and age in the NBA, it's hard to win like that in the NBA. When you're playing, everyone has those nights where you're tripped up, and I know it's going to happen to this team at some point, but 19-0, that's taking care of business.
You know, taking care of the games you're supposed to take care of, and then, you know, being focused on the other games, the better teams. That's, you know, that's why they have that nice cushion when they lost those games, the 4 in a row.
Still in first place.
They still had an opportunity to stay where they were, and so that's what you have to do. Because you're going to lose some games in the NBA. Sometimes you're going to lose 2 or 3 in a row. Hopefully you don't have injuries, but to take care of business, we said this, you know, last year or several years ago. A couple years ago, we said, if they just won those 15 games that they should have won, they might be in the playoffs. Yeah. But this year, for sure, they're handling their business.
All right, let's get you to the highlights. We take you out to Staples Center. Lakers at home taking on the Pelicans. A lot of familiar faces in the opposing lineup. There's Lonzo Ball hugging it out with LeBron James. LeBron off the stagger screen.
Same way we do every game, and try to play Lakers basketball and get a win.
Anthony Davis had 41 the last time they played the Pelicans, and he had the game-winning steal. It might not be as emotional, of course, as going back to New Orleans for the first time, so I get that. But James, is always going to have meaning, right? No matter what AD says, you always know you're playing, you know, your first.
Yeah, I mean, it's the right thing to say.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to mean anything, them coming here, but I'm pretty sure he's going to make sure they don't leave here with a win. So, yeah, I think he's going to come out. You know, he's mature enough not to get into, you know, I used to play in New Orleans and all that. But, you know, at home, stay focused on what the team has been doing, and everything else to take care of itself.
You remember every time you played the Lakers, Fish?
Yes, for sure.
Even the first time you left, second time, right? Like,
yes, and I think the difference, too, for AD is although he was there with 7 seasons.
7 seasons.
A lot of turnover during his tenure. Coaching changes, personnel changes. Other players that may have left an organization, if you've been there 7, 8 years, you may have 6 or 7 or 8 guys still on that team that you grew up with, you know, that you guys are really close. So when you play against those guys, it's always going to be special. But for AD, you know, Drew Holiday, a couple other guys, a couple coaches, but a lot of new faces, you know, there in New Orleans, so maybe not as much of a personal thing for him.
Yeah, I don't think so at all. It's here at Staples Center. He's safe. The fans adore him already in just a few short months with this franchise. It was interesting. At New Orleans shoot-around today, Alvin Gentry, the Pelicans coach, he was asked about Brandon Ingram. He was asked about Lonzo Ball. He was asked about the team's winning streak. But what he was not asked about initially was Zion. In fact, it's funny. They have complete Zion mania down there in New Orleans. He finally practiced the other day, hasn't played yet in the regular season. In fact, Alvin was kind of surprised. He started to walk away, and someone's like, wait, we have to ask you about Zion still. So the talk of today's practice anyway, today's shoot-around, as far as New Orleans was, all their young players coming back to the Lakers. We'll see what they all do.
All right, we're going to get into Lonzo and B.I. In a little bit. Let's talk B.I. now. Inside access, Brandon Ingram's improvement season by season, and you see the huge leap year 1 to 2 and then year 3 to 4, which many expected. No one here surprised at how well he's playing. And we will talk about Brandon Ingram a little later when we come back. But first, let's get to Take Your Shot, brought to you by your Southern California Toyota.